Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast.
Woo!
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Abby.
And this is episode 7.
Yeah. Lucky number 7. That's what I say. From, what is it? Lucky number 7 from Schoolhouse Rock.
I was just thinking about the other day. I actually have never seen Schoolhouse Rock. I never had that in my schoolhouse.
What?
I know.
It's amazing. I showed my kids the other day and they thought it was great. How are you?
I am doing awesome. I just came back from my niece's play, Once Upon a Mattress. It was adorable.
Cute.
And Lizzie got to see it, my 4-year-old, who is going to start going to a theater camp in a few weeks, just like a cute little kindergarten version. But I wanted her to see what it was going to look like. And she actually did very well. She's very excited.
Cute. You'll have to send me pictures.
Oh, I will. How are you?
Oh, man. First of all, still reeling over the Stranger Things season finale. I watched it 2 nights ago. I was a little late. Sue me. The first thing was almost 2 hours and the other one was almost 3 hours. Okay, I don't have that kind of time as a parent. I had to watch it over multiple days. Okay.
Well, and I tried watching it, and this is something you cannot have in front of a child. Sometimes you can get away with some shows, but this, no. I don't want her accidentally looking up and seeing breaking bones and eyes popping out. And
no spoilers, but yes, yeah. But also, I can't. It is stuck. It was if I only could, I made a deal with God. So I can get this song out of my head.
Oh my gosh.
I'll be running up that hill.
Why do you think I made that post? I was the one that made that post because I could not get that song out of my head. And then I was thinking, I need to somehow make this Lord of the Rings. I need to make a crossover. When do they run up a hill? I know when they run up a hill.
It won't leave. It won't leave me alone. My husband is so over me singing because I don't sing it like a normal, pretty way. I'm always if I only could make a deal with God. He's stop. I'm I can't. I wish I could. I really wish I could, but I can't.
Could
make a deal with God that I can get this song out of my head. Yeah.
Yes.
It's anyway. But anyway, yeah. That's what I'm still reeling about.
And I'm loving, I was kind of subtly noticing the Lord of the Rings hints in the first season. They talk about Mirkwood.
Mm.
And then they mention it again in this season. It's not a spoiler that they mention it. I posted it on the Instagram, but I just love the conversation.
Oh, yeah. I know.
True nerds made this. True nerds made this. Because they're not referencing the books or the movies. The movies weren't out yet. They're referencing the books.
Yeah. I kind of think that during the 80s, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit became popular again, if that makes sense. I feel that kind of uprising of Dungeons and Dragons and kind of kind of fantasy thing kind of made Lord of the Rings popular,
right?
Even more popular again with teens and kids and stuff. So yeah, it's cool that they mentioned it a few times in that show.
Did anyone else have a hard time picturing Eddie?
Yeah, my boy.
Reading the Lord of the Rings, reading all 3 books, not all of it is dry, but some of it is kind of dry. He was just so hyper and so I don't know. It's just, I have a hard time picturing it.
Yeah. I could see it. He's very thorough, I think.
True.
And he loves D&D, which is, if
True.
you're a dungeon master, you have to do a lot of homework, a lot of prep work. So I feel he can put in the hours,
I guess, yeah.
Anyway, so that's what's I'm stuck on. And I just got back from Idaho. I went and visited my sister and brother-in-law and their puppies.
Was it by chance because of a certain event that happened in the last few days?
It was my 32nd birthday.
30 beep. answer.
I was trying to do my 111th birthday, but only being 32, it just doesn't roll off the tongue as easily as 111th. But I got to do something really cool. So my sister, who loves me dearly, and I love her dearly,
Yeah, there actually is a third sister to the sisters.
my actual real sister,
Real sister, but
um,
who also hung out with us during the summers, but she's not as nerdy as us, so we love her dearly. We just
yeah, okay, no, that leads into what I was gonna say. So she knows that I'm a huge nerd, and she, for my birthday, because I was gonna be there at her house in Idaho, bought me and my husband and her husband tickets. It's kind of like a ticket thing to do Lord of the Rings trivia at a comedy club, which is, I gotta say, very selfless of her because this is not her jam. Like,
no.
no way. Her motto is, if there's a guy with a pointy hat and a staff in it, she's not down.
She got against Gandalf.
If there's dragons, no thank you.
Only one dragon.
Like, she's just like, no. She's very much like my mom in that way, where she's like, give me the real, like, I want real sad things. I want like real stories. So very nice of her, very kind of her to like pay money to do this with me, even though she didn't participate in like answering any questions, even though there was one question that was a multiple choice. And she's like, oh, I think it's this. Or one of the answers was Legolas. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. And then I was like, I chose something else. And the answer actually was Legolas. And I was like, oh, you actually got that right. She's like, thank you. I know. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But
Well, now I have to know what the question
it was
was.
a quote, like, who said this quote? And then they read the quote. And I thought it was Theoden, but it was Legolas. I don't remember what it was. But it was very sweet of her. Her husband is super into Lord of the Rings, and it was fun to have him there and do that with us. Like I said, it was very kind of her to come, even though she didn't know anything about it. And
She's like, Lord of the Flies?
yeah, no, okay, but the best part, it was so funny. So we walk in and there was like 12 other teams. There was a team that was wearing like all like themed shirts, like Lord of the Rings shirts. And my brother-in-law was like, oh, we lost. We already lost. Yep. He's like, I was like, yeah, we probably did. And then trivia guy who asked the questions um was up on the stage part, and he's like, I just am gonna tell you right now, I have never seen a Lord of the Rings movie. I've never read any of the books. I don't know anything about this.
Oh no.
I'm just gonna tell you that right now. And so when he was trying to read the questions with like names of characters, it was so butchered, and it was so funny because people in the crowd, like in the teams, were like, actually, it's pronounced Denethor. And then he'd come back, he's like, actually, I don't care. Like, he's like, I could give less of a crap. He's like, I don't care. And my brother-in-law was like, oh, he's definitely just getting paid. Like, this is just money to him. It was just so funny. He's like, you think you're trying to teach me, but really it's just going in one ear and out the other. I could not care less.
Oh no.
But his pronunciations of everything were like so butchered. It was so funny. But it was really fun. Out of 12 teams, I think we got like fourth to last, which I'm gonna say I'm pretty proud for that. I was going into it like, oh shoot, am I gonna know enough? Like, between me and my brother-in-law, because my husband knows some things, but his brain is preoccupied by other knowledge. I'll just say it like that. Fourth from last. I mean, it's not last, you know. Pretty proud. Pretty proud. But it was really fun. And thank you to my sister and to my brother-in-law who got that for me for a gift. It was way fun. It was like perfect gift for me. It was really fun. I got to have a night out with my husband and my sister and my brother-in-law. I love trivia night stuff. I love that stuff. So that's how I got to celebrate my birthday. Thank you to Ashley for those cute, funny Instagram posts for my birthday.
Mildly terrifying. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I found the Smeagol ones so funny. I was like giggling to myself. I'm like, I'm gonna put these up.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So thank you. Thank you for celebrating me.
You're welcome.
And it'll be a good 30-second year. Let's do this. Woo!
Speaking of celebrating, we have reached 200 plays, over 200 now. So thank you to all of our listeners who are listening to our podcast. We're doing the darn thing.
That's so cool. Thank you guys.
And I just wanted to give a shout out because Anchor lets me see where the different listeners are like listening from, the different countries. And there are some that I'm like, ooh, like I'm so excited. All right. Are you ready for this, Abby?
Only if you sing me the countries like Yakko from the Animaniacs.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama. That's all I got. And we do have United States and Canada. We don't have Mexico.
So you did it. You did it.
All right. So we got obviously the US, America, Australia, which I think is mainly due to our friend at the Lord of the Rings podcast. Thank you.
Woo! That guy's super cool. Check out his stuff.
Yeah. Canada, Italy, Slovenia,
Ooh.
the UK. What up, UK?
Yeah.
Abby and I took a trip there when we were like 16.
Yes.
Did not appreciate it as much as we should have because we were 16.
Yes.
I want a trip redo.
I know.
Anyways, the Netherlands. And then one that is new as of today, Pakistan.
Whoa, cool. It's cool to think our voices are like over there, you know?
Yeah, right? Germany, 1%, I guess, in Germany.
My friend's there right now.
Oh, maybe it's him or her. Finland, France, and Poland. So thank you all for listening from across the world. That makes my day.
Yeah. If you're one of those people who aren't in America and you're on our Instagram, tell us where you're from.
Yes, please, please, please. Like, that was me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to, but it just would really, really cool.
That'd be cool.
Hooray for Sisters of the Shire podcast.
Woo!
Woo. All right. Last week, we left off. The elves have finally made it to Middle Earth.
Yep.
And they woke in a place called Kuivienen, or Water of Awakening.
Uh-huh.
And do you remember what they called themselves?
The Quinta? No.
Quendi. That was very close.
Quendi.
Yeah. Or, quote, those who speak with voices.
Yep.
And then when Arome found them, he called them the Eldar, or people of the stars, because the stars was the first thing the elves saw when they awoke. We also found out that the Balrogs were formerly Maiar that sided with Melkor in the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
And that Melkor actually created the orcs by kidnapping and torturing elves that happened to wander off or be by themselves before Arome came and found everyone.
Oh.
Poor things. The Valar and Melkor fought in the Battle of the Powers, where they basically kicked Melkor's butt and put him in prison in the halls of Mandos.
And then there was a peace for a while.
Yes, then there was a peace for a while, which I don't understand why the elves... I mean, I guess I'm Team Ulmo in this debate. Like, how come we couldn't have just let the elves, like, figure out Middle Earth for themselves? But whatever. So the Valar invited the elves to live in Valinor with them, but they didn't want to at first because of trust issues.
Yeah.
So instead, they chose 3 elf like ambassadors, and then Arome, the only Valar that they did trust because he like talked to them and hung out with them for a bit. He took them to Valinor. Their names were Finwë, Elwë, and Ingwë.
Yep. I remember that.
The ways. And then when they saw Valinor, they loved it and they wanted their fellow elves to come too. So Arome took the ambassadors back to Middle Earth, and the ambassadors are like, okay, let's all migrate to Valinor.
This guy checks out. We can go.
I give it like a 5-star review. So, so that's where we left off. Are you ready for some confusion? I will post my chart later, but I'll try and make it as easy as possible because, man. Okay.
Okay.
So, do you remember the three ambassador elf guys?
Yes.
Do you remember their names?
Oh, you want names? Dang it. Uh Fenway, Elway, and Eonway?
Ingwe.
Ingwe.
Ingwe, Finwë, and Elwë. So, Ingwe and his clan, and most of Finwë and Elwë's clan, all follow Arome to go to Valinor. This group that follows Arome is henceforth called the Eldar. So all the elves are called the Quendi, but this specific group is called the Eldar.
The three, or are there more than three?
The three ambassadors and like their clan, we'll call it. They were like chosen as after they were chosen as ambassadors, they were kind of like chosen to be leaders, and their kind of clan, family, group all follow Arome. So this group that follows Arome is henceforth called the Eldar, or People of the Stars.
Okay.
And that was the name that Arome gave them in the beginning when he met them.
So this is a separate group. There's other elves out there who don't have this name.
Correct. However, there are some elves that didn't want to go to Valinor. Quote, preferring the starlight and the wide spaces of Middle-earth to the rumor of the trees.
Oh, doubters.
Yes.
Or introverts. Who knows?
I'd rather stay at home. I'm good.
Yeah. I got my sweatpants on already.
Sounds like a lot of work.
I took my bra off already. I don't want to go out.
So this group, the people who stayed, are henceforth called the Avari.
Avari.
Avari, or the Unwilling. And they just completely separated themselves from the Eldar and would not meet again for a long time. They just kind of fall out of the way.
Huh.
So some of the elves in this group are the ones that ran away from Arome in the beginning. You know, he came up and they're like, oh my gosh, the Black Rider guy is scary. And they ran. And then some of them were kidnapped and tortured.
Run away! Run away!
So some of them were kidnapped and tortured into orcs by Melkor, but not all of them were. So they are just kind of known as the Avari, and we don't really know what happens to them.
Okay.
So I'm going to sound repetitive, but just to keep it straight, all elves are the Quendi.
Uh-huh.
The elves that did not follow Arome are the Avari, or unwilling, unwilling to go. And the elves that follow Arome are the Eldar.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey, they have their own opinions of things. They can do whatever they want.
Right. The first guy, the first elf ambassador guy, Ingwe, he was known as the most high lord of all the elvish race.
I bet he's real handsome.
We're going to have to think of someone for this guy. I don't know how to explain him in my brain. He, quote, sits at the feet of the powers, powers being the Valar. So when he goes to Valinor, he just stays there and he just hangs out with the Valar. He never returns back to Middle-earth, and he's just kind of known as this like higher up guy. All elves revere his name. He is just like the highest of high lords.
What's his name?
Ingwe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So his people, his clan, are known as the Vanyar.
Another V word. Come on.
I know. I know. They're known as, quote, the fair elves. So in my head, fair elves meaning like fair skin, fair hair. So I'm thinking like a Legolas, like a, what's that other guy's name?
Thranduil or something.
Thranduil. No, I'm thinking of the other guy. Haldir?
Yeah, Haldir.
Haldir.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
He's my favorite. I love Haldir. He's so cool. He's so cool.
So they're known as the fair elves. They're favorites of Manwë and Barda because they're hanging out with them all the time. They rarely interact with men. They're known as the smallest group.
An elite clique.
Yes.
An elite posse of elves. I think in my head, it's very like Hollywood elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very exclusive. That's why I'm like, I'm not the hugest fan of Ingwe. Like, I'm sure he looks beautiful, but I just feel like he's just very exclusive. Like,
Very posh,
yes,
very exclusive, very
yes,
VIP lounge. You know what
yes,
I mean?
precisely. And this is mainly because they were the first group to arrive in Valinor.
Mhm.
And that's because they were the smallest group. So, less people, easier to travel.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the Vanyar.
Vanyar.
Yes.
The Hollywood elite. That's what we're going to call them. Vanyar,
Yes.
the Hollywood elite.
I like it. Yes, let's go with that. So the second elf guy, Finwë,
Okay.
his people are called the Noldor. Noldor.
Oh, okay.
They're known as the Deep Elves.
Okay.
Yeah. Noldor can mean a name of wisdom or those with knowledge.
The Ravenclaws.
Yes and no. Because, okay, so they were favorites of Aule, of all people.
Okay.
And they're the elves that are most renowned in song. And I was like, when I heard that first, when I read it first, I was like, wait, so like they're the best at song? No, no, no. They're the most renowned in song. They are so cool. They make you want to write songs about them.
Wow.
Quote, for they fought and labored long and grievously in the northern lands of old. That's why their fights and labors were so cool and so epic that they are just the most written about in song.
I can see them as like a rock band.
Okay, yeah.
No, like not I'm just saying like song related, but like they're not as pretty and posh as the Hollywood elite group, but they have fans and they're like very still elite, like we're better than you kind of situation. Does that make sense?
So it sounds like they're good warriors, but they're also very smart. So it's maybe like a general kind of thing or like a Spartan or I don't know. Thing that still works hard but is very smart.
Okay, let me think.
Okay.
Keep going, but I'll think about it.
Okay. So last elf guy is Elwë. His people are called the Teleri.
Okay.
Teleri.
Uh-huh.
Now, this group is the biggest group. And because of that, they had two leaders Elwë, the main guy that we're talking about, but his brother, Olwe, of course, Olwe, he helped lead as well because it was a really big group.
Oh, okay. They weren't as elite.
They were the most hesitant to come to Valinor, which is why they showed up last.
Hmm.
And they also had the most offshoot groups because the size of the group was so big, it took them a long time to get to Valinor.
Yeah.
It was a bigger group, so that it was hard to all agree on things.
Yeah.
So there was like too many chefs in the kitchen, so they just like kind of, okay, we're just going to do our own thing over here. Maybe their leaders weren't as well.
Huh?
Okay, real quick, I'm just going to go over these names. So, Ingwe is the group of the Hollywood elite. They are known as the Vanyar.
Vanyar.
Finwë, his people are the Noldor.
Okay.
We still haven't figured out a name for them. And then Elwë / his brother Olwe are the Teleri.
Okay.
Okay. So within the Teleri, the big, big group, they had some offshoot groups that just decided to do their own thing. First, we have these names. It looks like calamari. Every time I read it, I read calamari. It's Falmari. Falmari.
Falmari.
Falmari, or sea elves. They loved the sea, they loved the ocean, and they actually made it across the water into Aemon, the like Valinor continent, but they didn't actually make it to Valinor, the city, because they wanted to stay by the sea.
Cute.
Quote, for they made music beside the breaking waves.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't want to like say that they're just fishermen or that they're just sailors because there's a like music element, but ocean, water, sea elves.
Okay.
Okay, next group. Umanyar. Umanyar.
Okay.
They stayed in Middle Earth somewhere along the journey to Valinor. They just stopped. And I'll get to them again in a bit, but Umanyar, just remember that name.
They're like, this is fine. This place is good. I'm just getting real tired. We're gonna call it here. I think we're good. You guys can keep going if you want, but
Not far from the truth. And then the third, third, third Teleri offshoot group are called the Nandor, Nandor. They also stayed in Middle Earth.
that's a character from one of my favorite shows. Names
Oh, Nandor?
Nandor.
What show is that?
If you know what we do in the shadows, it's that vampire show that's hilarious. If you guys ever watch it, but he's one of my favorite characters on there, and his name is Nandor.
Oh, okay. Cool. So they also stayed in Middle Earth on the way to Valinor, but they had like a specific offshoot point that I'll get to in a bit. But they specifically followed a guy named Lenway. They loved water. They often lived by waterfalls and running streams. And they had the most knowledge of living things, quote, tree and herb, bird and beast, than all other elves.
Cool. That kind of reminds me of like Rivendell,
Kind of.
maybe.
Maybe kind of like a ranger, just in that they're just out in the wilderness, but then like if you need them, they're like, hey, this herb will actually heal you. Like they're the ones that will find you if you're out camping and give you first aid.
I think that's the kind of elf I'd be. Would be that one.
That would be you, yeah.
What would you choose? Who would you be? Which group?
Hmm.
We got the Hollywood elite. We've
I
got
know it might be the Hollywood elite just because I'm lazy and want to take the easy road sometimes.
okay.
Like I'll just chill in Valinor and just stay out of all that Middle Earth drama.
Yeah.
But I also do love the sea. I also love like looking at water. So I might be a Falmari too.
What was the name of the one that Nandor?
Nandor.
Yes.
They have a funny story. I'll tell you about them in a minute. So you got those groups: the Nandor,
Yeah.
the
Is it N as in
Nancy.
Nancy?
So Falmari, Umanyar, and Nandor. And you thought that was a lot of group names.
No. Is there more?
But they wanted to distinguish within the groups.
No.
Not within the groups, not necessarily. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Okay, I'll just tell the story. So, some of the Teleri that stopped along the way and stayed in Middle Earth were called the Umanyar, like I was telling you, because they never came to Aemon or Valinor, versus the Aemonyar, the people who did make it to Aemon.
Okay.
So they just want to label the different groups. So like the Hollywood elite are Amanyar because they actually made it to Aemon. But the like Avari who didn't go to Aemon or Valinor are Umanyar because they never made it. They just want to like give all the names to all the things. They want to like classify people with not within the groups, but like they want to group the groups.
Oh.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay. So Umanyar are the people who never made it to Valinor or Aemon.
Okay.
Versus the Aemonyar, the people who did make it to Aemon.
Well, at least you made it easy by saying like their name is the same as the place that they actually went to. That makes sense.
Right. So there's that distinguishment.
So there's only two of those. You're either you went or you didn't.
Right. Then there's also all the elves that have gone to Valinor and seen the two trees. The two trees that Yavanna made, the lights and Telperion, and why can't I remember?
Laurelin.
Laurelin. Uh, these people that have seen the two trees are called the Calaquendi. Remember, all the elves are called Quendi. So these are the Calaquendi,
Oh my gosh.
or elves of the light.
Uh, okay, so they have a name. Is it like when they say who they are, do they have to like say all their kind of like a firefighter or like a doctor?
Maybe. I almost think it's like a bragging right. Like, I've seen the light of the trees. Either a bragging right or like an honor, I guess.
Oh.
So the Calaquendi are the elves of the light who saw the two trees, versus the Moriquendi, or elves of the darkness, because they never saw the light of the two trees. Now, elves of darkness gives you a thought, and I'm going to shut that down right now.
Oh, I didn't know I was having that thought, but okay, it got shut down.
Oh. No.
Okay.
Sometimes it's mentioned, like I remember seeing like a clickbait thing, like, did you know that the Lord of the Rings have dark elves? And I was like, wait, what? That's all he was referring to. Elves of the darkness, the Morquendi, the elves that didn't see the light. That's all they're talking about.
Not like World of Warcraft dark elves
No,
or the
no,
dark elves from like Thor or whatever.
no. And I mean, there's definitely going to be like corrupt elves later. We'll get to those.
Oh,
But I wouldn't say there's any like straight up evil elves.
good.
Yeah, yeah. So the Teleri group of elves were the most hesitant, like I said, to come to Valinor. Some got lost on the way. Some were afraid of certain parts of the journey and ran away. Or some just stopped on the road because they liked it there instead.
Man, I would think these elves would be a little bit braver, but who knows? You know, maybe who am I to say?
I had the same thought.
Who am I to say? Maybe it's super freaky out there. I don't know. Maybe I'd be just as afraid. I don't know.
Hold on to that thought. That's all I got to say. Hold on to that thought. So the Teleri group of elves, the ones that stopped or stayed on the way, quote, they dwelt by the sea or wandered in the woods and mountains of the world. And my first thought was like, why the heck would they have stopped? Valinor sounds awesome. Like, why would we want to stay here?
Yeah.
But the migration from Cuivienen, or Water of Awakening, where they woke up, from there to Valinor was actually a very long trip, especially for the Teleri because they're a big group, like years long trip.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what? I think I'm good. I am done with this. Like you guys go on. I send my love.
And this was also the first time they ever left that specific area. So they were seeing Middle Earth for the first time and we're just like, ooh,
Yeah,
like,
I like this.
look at that rock. Look at that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
Yeah. This place has great Wi-Fi. I think we're gonna stay. The reception here is great. The housing market, perfect.
Perfect school system. Schools are highly rated.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the schools. I can't. Couldn't ask for better. Have you seen the downtown? I mean, it's great.
And another thing of why they stopped is apparently Arome was supposed to kind of be the like guide and leader of the migration, but every so often he would be called away to Valinor. Like, what could possibly have been more important?
Yeah.
And they would just stop where they were and wait till he got back.
Hey, that's not cool, man.
Right?
That's so sad. They're like, it's gonna take a long journey.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
But I actually have to go home. I left the oven on. Hold on. I gotta go back. Yeah, no wonder they're like, yeah, we're just gonna stay here. Like,
Yeah. And by the time he got back, most of them, some didn't want to keep going. They're like, I already like planted crops. I already made my home.
yeah.
I'm pregnant. I don't want to travel with a baby. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I've got a toddler. This isn't gonna work out.
No. So remember that Nandor group I was telling you about?
The one I like?
The one you like. This is their origin story.
Okay.
While on this journey, Arome is leading this group and all the Teleri, and they're traveling through a forest and they came upon a huge river. This river would later be called Anduin the Great, and this river Anduin is huge, and it might sound familiar. It sounded familiar to me, so I looked it up. And just so this doesn't really play into what's happening in the story right now, but just for your own curiosity, this river was on the slopes of Amunhen, Amunhen, where the Fellowship broke and Frodo and Sam left on their own, and Sam runs into the boat. That's the River Anduin.
Oh.
Also, by the falls of Raros, where they sent Boromir's body after he died.
Oh.
Just a little like backstory of the backstory,
Okay.
in case you're wondering why Anduin sounded familiar. Anyways, beside this river, Anduin the Great, were mountains, quote, whose sharp horns seemed to pierce the realm of the stars, and were reared by Melkor to hinder the riding of Arome.
What a jerk.
Remember, Melkor does not like Arome riding his horse. Some reason the horse riding just like really gets him. So he built these mountains so basically Arome couldn't just ride his horse through.
Definitely sibling energy.
Right? Like of all the spiteful things. So all the other groups had passed through these mountains without a hitch. But the Teleri saw these mountains and were super scared.
Oh.
Then this random elf named Lenway came out. And he's like, I don't want to go over these mountains. Anyone else not want to go over these mountains? You guys, okay, let's go this way. Quote, they passed out of the knowledge of their kind until long years were past. So this group of people that he led away because they were too scared to go over these mountains are called the Nandor.
Oh. So they're like not cool with mountain climbing.
That's why I'm like, cool, but also like wimpy, maybe?
No, they have perfectly healthy fears. Okay. Mountains can be terrifying. Have you not seen I don't know what's a movie that was a scary mountain?
The Hobbit.
Yeah. I could totally see
Everest.
yeah. No, like it can be treacherous trying to get over any mountain range.
Sure.
Maybe they were afraid of heights.
Maybe. And you know what? It doesn't specify, but I kind of wish it did, how these groups migrated. So, like, did they all start at the same time? Did Arome lead each group separately? Did Arome only lead the Teleri?
Tour groups are at 1, 3, 5. Yellow group is going this way.
But, like, it sounds like the other ones didn't have a problem, but this Teleri group, they just couldn't stick together.
Yeah.
And their tour guide was off taking breaks.
Yes. He's like, oh, it's quitting time. Union, gotta go.
So the rest of the Teleri, the ones who didn't follow Lenway and become the Nandor, were still hanging out by the Misty Mountains, scared to cross them. They were still being led by Arome at this time, and this was one of the times that he just left. Quote, he returned to Valinor to seek the counsel of Monway and left them.
He's like, Monway, these people are so slow. All they do is complain.
They won't come.
Yeah. I keep having to herd them. Like, then some keep leaving. Like, what? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If you're one person trying to lead a huge group of people who have never seen this part of the world before, yeah, I get it, him being like, I gotta take a break. Hold on, guys. I'm like, mommy needs a break for like a quick second. I can, regroup here and then I can come out and back and help you. Oh, great. Half of you have left. Ugh. Like,
well, less to deal with.
Yeah. So he went back to get advice of how to like bring them over there, or
It doesn't specify it, but it just says he went to seek counsel. But I like your rationale for that.
yeah, just give me a break.
So Arome is gone. So Elwë, the leader of the Teleri, the ambassador who had already been to Valinor, he really wants to go back to the poultries in Valinor. Plus, he wanted to catch up with the Noldor, which is Finwë's group, because apparently Elwë and Finwë were besties.
Aw, bros.
They were bros. So after many years, the Teleri make it over another mountain range called the Blue Mountains, or Ered Luin.
Okay, how slow are they walking? Because Sam and Frodo got to Mordor. It didn't take them that long.
I have no idea. There was only 2 of them.
Yeah, but they got little habit legs, you know?
Hobbits are very good at walking.
It's true.
So they finally make it over another mountain range to an area that they will call Beleriand. And this place becomes super important later.
Valerian.
Beleriand.
Valerian.
Leriand. And here they stopped for a while.
But they're not there yet.
They're not there yet.
Ugh.
So, do you remember Melian?
That name sounds familiar.
So, she was one of Maiar we were introduced to a while ago. Not a ton of things was said about her then, but I told you we would learn about her later, and she has an interesting story.
Wait, is she the singing lady?
She is.
Okay.
So this is when we are going to learn a lot about her in a very I don't know why I find these stories so funny, but it's funny to me. So Melian lived in Lorien on the continent of Aemon near Valinor.
And her DeLorean. Sorry. It just was very rhymey.
Oh, yeah.
Melian lives in Lorien.
In her DeLorean.
With her DeLorean.
And out of everyone there in Lorien, she was the most beautiful, the most wise, and the most skilled in songs of enchantment.
So she was a Maiar, right?
Maiar. So not the Valar, the Maiar, like the helpers of the Valar.
Okay.
Iluvatar made his creations through songs and themes in the beginning. Yavanna made her 2 trees through song. It doesn't specify, but I think that's how things are made.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
On the other hand, Auli didn't have to sing to make the dwarves, and certainly Melkor is not singing to make things. So, I mean, it was just an thought I had.
Who knows? Maybe they did.
Maybe they did. So apparently when the lights of the trees they refer to it as mingling, but I'm going to say like maybe like in a between waxing and waning. She would sing in Lorien and everything just stopped around her. People would stop working, birds stopped singing, and fountains would even stop flowing. Everything just stood still and everything was just her singing. Nightingales always went with her, and she was the one that taught them their song.
Pretty.
And she was pretty close to Yavanna since the beginning. So when she heard from her bestie Yavanna that the elves woke up in Cuiviénen, Melian left Valinor and came to Middle-earth.
Oh. Okay, so if it takes years for them to get over there,
I don't know.
do they? Okay.
I'm assuming they can fly. That's just what.
Amazing.
I mean, that's what I got. Or take a cloud. I don't know.
Apparate.
And quote, there she filled the silence of Middle-earth before the dawn with her voice and the voices of her birds.
Pretty.
Yeah. Melian is now in Middle-earth.
Is there anybody left in Middle-earth? Because, like, everybody went different ways.
Well, the Teleri, we're going back to them. When we last left them, they had just crossed the Misty Mountains and then the Blue Mountains, and they're now in an area called Beleriand. So nearby Beleriand, there was a forest. And here, Elwë, the main Teleri leader, he was still trying to catch up to the Noldor group with his bestie Finwë. And so he would go out into the forest just looking for him, apparently.
Oh, bro,
Marco!
where are you, bro?
So one day, as Elway is wandering in the forest, he hears, quote, the song of nightingales. Then an enchantment fell on him, and he stood still. This is when he hears the voice of Melian,
Oh.
and it filled all his heart with wonder and desire.
Ooh.
Okay, now are you ready for it to get just ridiculous?
Okay, but now it's gonna get ridiculous.
Just you wait, my friend.
You just gave me the most confusing migration story.
I don't mean ridiculous as in confusing. I mean ridiculous as in like, what?
Yeah.
Like Hallmark romance, cheesy, ridiculous.
Okay. I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay. So
He hears her song and he immediately falls in love.
he immediately falls in love, but it also like causes him to forget everything, his people, his bestie Finway, what he was supposed to be doing. Everything is just gone, and he follows the sound of her voice deep into the forest, quote, and was lost until he sees her.
It's like Sleeping Beauty.
Kind of. But wait for the weirdness to happen. Okay.
Well, I'm saying, like, Sleeping Beauty, they're like in the
Yeah.
forest, and she's singing, and then he finds her. Anyway, okay.
No, I like it. I like it. Sorry. I know it's going to happen right now, and I'm still just flabbergasted by the weirdness of it. Okay.
Okay.
Quote, and there Melian stood, and out of the darkness he looked at her, and the light of Aemon was in her face. She spoke no word, but being filled with love, Elway came to her and took her hand, and straightway a spell was laid on him, so that they stood thus, while long years were measured by the wheeling stars above them, and the trees grew tall and dark before they spoke any word.
What? I
Okay,
mean,
very
I
romantic, but
mean,
also what?
yeah.
Who wants to watch that movie? Just sit with silence. Just
I know. I think I think it's trying to be like super. I'm sorry. Ladies. Okay.
they can't believe it either.
I know. The super romantic like notion of like, and time stood still. Was it minutes? Was it days that we had been like staring into each other's eyes? And yeah, I get that, but also like, what?
I feel like you took that too literal.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna play the game again. What song was playing in the background? Because you better believe some kind of epic song came on in the background the moment he saw her.
Oh yes. Okay. Okay, I'll think about it.
You ready for mine? You ready
Yes.
for mine?
Okay.
Do you remember the movie Never Been Kissed?
Yes. I rewatched it recently. Does not hold up. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, I think we built it up a lot in our childhood. But the I've been dying in your arms tonight. But it has the like epic like beginning
Yeah.
thing.
Must be something to
Yeah.
say. I couldn't walk away.
So either that one or Lost in This Moment with You.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I cannot remember the rest of the words of the song. I should have looked it up, but
Okay, let me look up epic love ballads.
but it has to be epic.
Epic.
The cheesiest of all the cheese. Listeners, we want your input here.
Yeah.
L is for the way you look.
No,
at
that one's too cute. This
me.
is way too
I
cheesy at the
know.
moment.
Yeah, it needs to be cheesier.
Oh, wait.
You got it?
I don't want to miss a thing.
Yes.
That one.
Don't want to close my eyes.
I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, babe. And I don't want to miss a thing.
You mean Liv Tyler's daddy?
The sweetest thing I ever do. Yeah, that's my choice.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, but we want to also hear from the listeners what song was playing. Anyways, while Elway and Melian were in this epic love bubble, the Teleri, Elway's group, had no idea where he went.
They're like, where the crap did he go? Like,
I don't know why he went wandering off by himself.
he said he was going to come back from the store, and he did not come back.
So Elway's brother Olway took over the Teleri. He's like, I'm just gonna take over for now
Yeah.
because I have no idea where my brother went. So Elway and Melion would later become king and queen of their own little kingdom, and later their people would be called the Sindar, or the Grey Elves, the elves of the twilight.
That name sounds familiar to me. Sindar.
Yes, we'll get to it later.
Okay. The Gray Elves.
Yes.
The Abandoned by Elway?
No, this is Elway's group. This is his
Oh.
people's group.
Who's the guy that fell in love?
Elway.
Okay, but he abandoned them for his lady. For like.
No.
What?
Sorry. So the Teleri was Elway and Olway's group. Elway and Melion went off on their own little escapade, and their people are called, they're going to have their own people later, and they are called the Sindar.
Oh. Okay.
Olway, who stuck with the Teleri, are still known as the Teleri.
Oh. Okay. All right.
So, to make things more confusing,
of course,
Elway gets a name change.
Oh, come.
Are you ready?
Okay. If it helps to like stand out, so he does it rhyme?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I know. But you have to tell me what it reminds me of because I can't place it. So his name is Thingol. Thingol.
Single.
Thingol.
Single.
I cannot. It tricks something in my brain, but I can't quite figure it out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Thingol, Elway, he never returns to Valinor. Apparently, Melian lent him great power, and he was the only one of the Sindar, his new group of people, who had seen the two trees of Valinor. So, this is where it gets a little confusing. He was the leader of the Sindar. The Sindar were known as Umanyar and Morroquindi because they never made it to Aemon or Valinor and they never saw the light of the trees. But he wasn't. He was the only one among them that made it to Valinor and who made it to see the trees.
Because he was one of the ambassador people that went.
Correct. Yes. Yes. So the offspring, the children of Thingol and Melian, would be the fairest of all the children of Iluvatar that was or shall ever be.
Oh.
And they are very important for later. Like they're big names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that is where I'm going to leave you today.
Oh. Wow. Very confusing. Won't lie. Kind of confusing.
Yes. You see where I was like, I don't know how to explain. Hopefully I didn't confuse you guys too much. I'm so sorry. It's not my fault.
A chart is needed. It is definitely one of those detective.
I have a color-coded chart ready to go.
Detective serial killer charts with the yarn and the connecting dots kind of situation.
Yes. And I also made don't make fun of me. It's going to be very cheesy looking, but I'm a very visual person and like I don't know about you, but I made a map of Aemon just to kind of like give you an idea
Yeah.
Just like, here is Valinor, here are the halls of Mandos, here is Tanaquitl, see there's the mountain range, here's the sea.
Yeah.
And then I kind of made a map of the Middle Earth as well, as far as I understand it, and as much as I could with the space I was given with Instagram post dimensions. So
Yeah.
I will post both of those. But just know they are very simplified. I know I'm missing stuff. I'm just going with the bare essentials of what you need to know.
Okay. You know what? I will probably have to still reference it when you talk about it later because
That is fine.
Mama's confused.
That is fine.
um, you like I get it. Like I get what you're saying. I just could not keep those names
Oh, no,
straight.
no.
Like that's like intense.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Tolkien. Did you really have to make it that intense?
I know. He just loved words so much. It's like they say, like, I created a language and then I made the story to make the language work. Like, most people don't write things that way.
Yeah. Calm down, dude.
He just loved words.
I'm excited for that chart. Like I said, I get what you're saying. I just wouldn't be able to be like, oh, that's that people or that's that group or whatever.
Right. I will post it. I will send it to you, but I also will post it on the Instagram as probably like I'll give people a day or two to listen after Tolkien Tuesday, but I'll post it. And just know it is very simplified. I know it gets
Okay.
complicated later or might not, have the same as other charts, but
It's in crayon.
maybe.
Is it like a map where it's like this area and you just, this area of the map and then you put their name? Like, this is where they are. This is where they are. This is where they are. Kind of.
Oh, I couldn't even do that because there were too many. I couldn't even fit it on the map.
Thanks, Tolkien.
I tried that. But I did find another map online that kind of did that with like arrows. Like here, they started at Cuivienen. Here, now they are Eldar. Here, they branch off. And it got like ahead of where we were too. So this is the one I was talking about before where I literally like markered out stuff to like
No, like Buddy the Elf in Elf where he's like running with his hands covering his
yes.
eyes. Like
Don't look.
like,
So
yeah.
I suppose I could post that too, but it also looks very complicated. So I tried to make it as simple as possible, but also from where we are right now, not ahead now.
Dang. Ugh. It's like, hey bud, hey Tolkien, do you want us to enjoy your books or do you want us to be super confused? Because you can't have both, sweetie. You can't have both. It's just too much.
Well, it's like that Instagram post about the guy who read the Silmarillion first,
Dude.
and he was like, "So what should I read next?"
And he thought the other ones were going to be harder.
And then someone wrote like, "I just read the super hardest book ever. Should I read like the ABCs next or
Dr. Seuss or
yeah?" Oh man! But then shout out to this girl. I'm assuming it was a girl. I don't know why I assume it's a girl, but this person on the Instagram that
individual.
posted that their brother wouldn't even let them touch The Hobbit until they had read the Silmarillion first. But
Dang.
like, yeah, I'm like rude, but also kind of cool.
Sheesh.
But then I feel like you do need to build up to it though.
I mean, he's like, I am building your character. You shall be the most extreme of nerds. It's like bodybuilding for nerds.
I feel like, and Abby, if this gets more people behind it, this is on you. If people started with the Silmarillion, they should get some kind of a certificate, like a Tolkien. You won the Tolkien Award.
Yes. Please
You
go
did
outside now. Get some fresh air.
it.
Talk to other humans. No, feel like a certain age. I don't know. Even maybe in high school, unless you were like really into it, that would be hard to like. I mean, some kids, some like teenagers and stuff are like super into lore books, like
Oh yeah.
that have huge. I don't think anything tops Tolkien, but like big, histories and stuff like that. And some individuals get very into that and can learn, very quickly, and that's like their wheelhouse of doing that. But I was not in that number. Could not do that. So, more power to you if you did that.
I remember talking to my brothers and I was like, I love the books. I love the story. Listening to books. That is very much my family's thing. We don't read books, we listen to books.
Okay, I'm sorry. Quick side note. My sister and I were talking about that, about you listening to audiobooks when we were growing up, and she's like Kylie was trying to explain it to her husband. She's like, "Yeah, we'd be like getting ready for the day and Ashley to go take a shower, and then all we hear is, and Harry Potter said Expelliarmus," like from the bathroom, because like we can still hear you listening to Harry Potter while taking a shower. Like that was your deal. That's so funny to me. Sorry, that was like a quick anecdote that I had to say because Kylie and I were just talking about that. Like,
But like proof that that is how I listen. That's how I read books. I listen to books.
but because you were in the shower, it was so loud that like Kylie and I got to listen to Harry Potter too from the other room across
Well,
the
okay,
house.
then in another anecdote, I got this listening to books thing from my dad, who loves books, but he is like the most efficient person. Efficient's not the right word, but I can't think of one right now. But he listens to books at like times 2 speed.
Amazing.
So they basically sound like chipmunks.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Witness. And my
Yes.
mom like has to hear it. Like you had to hear Harry Potter. Imagine hearing chipmunks in the shower.
Yeah.
Oh, my poor mother.
Chipmunks talking about World War II.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But I remember trying to talk to my brother, anyways, about the Silmarillion. I'm like, I wish there was an audio version of it. And he's like, no, you don't want to do that. Like, I read it first in a book, and I can't imagine listening to it. I have listened to it since, and
Yeah.
it's so hard to keep up with things.
Yeah.
So hard.
I mean, you're telling me right now,
Yeah.
and I'm still confused, I don't have it in front of me. That's
Well, and the guy had the most epic pronunciations of things too. I got a little distracted by that.
yeah.
Aluvatar.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for your map and your chart and
Yes.
your was there something else? Your map and your chart and your
Migration chart that I have to censor out. That's not going to look very pretty. I apologize already ahead of time.
your PowerPoint.
My PowerPoint. Abby, witnessed that I was very worried about how to present this in a way that made sense. I considered making a PowerPoint for Abby. We literally talked about this like a couple weeks ago. Abby, witness.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Hey, I'm still down for the PowerPoint presentation. I'm cool with that.
I'll have all of the fun transition.
Well, thank you for teaching me today.
You're welcome. Until next week, I've been Ashley.
And I'm Abby. And this has been the Sisters of the Shire podcast. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.